go. Well, what an awesome warm up to tonight's call. I love it. All of the things. I think we're all maybe going to leave this call a little hungrier. Or a little more adventurous with our drink choices for sure. But tonight we have kind of two sections. It was really good just to check in and catch up with you guys, as I know sometimes the weeks can be super quick and then sometimes they can be really long and challenging weeks. So we're just happy that you guys made it here, and also to Meryl and Yev when you guys listen into this. But so our two parts of the call tonight is as we asked you guys if you'd be willing to dedicate some of this time tonight to just giving us a little bit of feedback about the course overall. And to make that a little bit easier for you guys, we did pull up, this is for you, Luis. We actually wrote out the things on a PowerPoint so you can actually read them, see it on the screen. I'm that way too, honestly, or I'll forget what I'm talking about. So we have it on just a few, there's not a ton. No one's required to have to answer these. It's just going to be fun, sharing with us what you guys overall felt and learned from the course. And then when we're done with that, we do want to, of course, open the floor for any kinds of questions or, again, blended family, cultural stuff, anything that you guys have that you want to share or talk about from this week in general. Okay?
Good.
Awesome. I love it. Okay, so without further ado, Kim, I know has, yes, the screen share option. And we'll go ahead and just, I'm sure you guys can imagine, put two and two together. If we're looking down, it's because we're not because we're embarrassed of you. It's because we're going to be taking notes on what you guys say. Awesome.
We prepared some feedback questions. There's just for to make sure that there's no right or wrong answer. We just want to hear what you think, honestly.
Yeah.
And that's the only right way to go about it.
And just to reiterate, or just to further affirm what Kim said, I mean, I think we all feel like family here and friends, but that doesn't mean you guys can step on our toes. You can say really genuinely, if there was something you guys didn't like or you think could have been better, please, please, please let us know, because we, for one, want this to serve people best. It's not about us. It's about you guys, the families we're aiming to help. And we also want to make it better also for not just the future clients, but for you guys too, because you have this lifetime access. So what feedback you give us, we're going to build an even better program so that when we do record it and you guys get this course, you guys can do it at your own pace. It's going to be even better and even something that's more tailored to you guys. But only if you guys, again, share with us just completely how you feel. So definitely feel free to just talk it out.
Yeah, everything that you've always been thinking but never shared before, now's the time.
So
start off with number one.
Question number one, what has been the most pleasant surprise of joining this program? So maybe something you weren't expecting that surprised you.
In general. Oh, hello? Hello?
Oh, we're frozen a little bit.
Hello?
And we're back.
So there you go.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, sorry.
I was just asking, in general or just content specific?
You can do both. Yeah.
Well, I guess for me, I have to say that at the very beginning, I told Caitlin that I was really nervous about talking so much of private stuff with people that I don't know, I haven't seen before, or just talking to a screen. But the most pleasant surprise was that all of us, we had so much in common. I mean, not just talking about blended families, but also private life.
Yeah.
Justin going to Venezuela, or you guys with us, so many things in common that made it also really pleasant, but there's a better word for that. It made you feel like you were at home, with family, that you could just open up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it created that atmosphere that you can trust,
Mm-hmm.
and also the things that you talk in this group also stay in this.
Totally.
Yeah.
stay in the group. Yeah. I mean, that was for me relief. It's like, oh, okay, well, this is actually quite nice. And it also helped me a lot to process a lot of things.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I think not just,
Process
as I was thinking on something very similar in the sense that, you know, you only get out what you put in. And I'm really thankful that our group has been so honest and vulnerable and able to kind of, you know, speak out to other individual people or couples as a whole. I think each of us have shared very honestly with
Yeah.
trials, the successes we've been experiencing over time, but even in the last, it's already been 5 weeks, 6 weeks, that like
Yeah.
we've all already had like some big things happening in our lives, like whether it be family or kid related or personal related or whatever. And I feel like, you know, since us, and that's really a credit to each individual person being willing to share. But I think it's not just, oh, you're sharing, but like also what I know we've mentioned before is that there's so much content, even though each of our blended family stories are so different, but yet we can relate to each other on so many ways. Like I think
Yeah.
to realize that like you're not the only one that had like felt certain
Absolutely.
thought certain things,
Yeah.
or like you theoretically you're not the only one to go through this, but you really haven't ever spoken to divorced dads.
Mm-mm.
This was actually the first time he'd ever really heard their divorce. So I think that was really powerful.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
You guys are very structured and very
That was a surprise for you.
no, not that I didn't expect that, but it's like it was, you know, you were very honest about the fact that your beta course, and I was very impressed with how structured and how timely and how everything was very clear about like timing and Zoom links and homework assignments. Like I was very impressed with like, wow, this is there's really, I mean, not that I didn't take it serious. Over there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I also have to say that you guys were talking to my scientist heart, like talking about with the researches and all that you found out and what you read, because I don't know, I mean, I kind of like it.
That now it's my turn. I'm more like, we don't need that stuff, and he's like, no, really, we do, and it's really fascinating. And
I have to say that's very important also, like to back it up with studies and research. Yeah, that's very helpful.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And I have to say, Louise, thank you for that, because that is something that's a little more of Kim's style. And that's what's great as, you know, building this course together, because we both have two different mindsets, and then really building it with you guys too. So we appreciate that feedback, and something we're going to incorporate into the recorded program that you guys will also get is we're going to have with each section. So like when we have a section on the mindset, we're going to be adding to into the recorded program, but then marriage, parenting, we're going to have a list of resources. So when we say research says, when we say studies, you can actually go read the articles that we actually found the research from, and you guys can go do like your own deeper research as well. And also some of the research we got, or maybe some of the concepts I know we've shared with you guys, we've gotten from books and things. And so we're definitely going to put that as well in a resources page. And just a little glimpse of our future thoughts are some of these people that we have gotten that have done the research. So some of these, you know, professors, thank you, and scientists and researchers, we've actually begun reaching out to some of them, because our heart and our goal would be to offer them to you guys kind of more live in person and beyond the paper, and actually have them like come in and do a guest live for our
Or
for our
interview or
families. Yeah, or maybe a
podcast
pre-recorded
or-
interview or something. So that's something coming. But just so you know, that's great because I feel like that'll back up the research even more, is having the expert opinions in there.
We should do some podcasts.
Right? Would you be game?
Yeah. What?
Awesome.
Diane has a podcast.
Oh, cool.
Well, I do, but it may not be exactly Luis's forte. It's called Moms Matter. You should do a Dad's Matter. Did you see that face? I don't know if you guys quite saw that. I've got it on camera though. I'll think about it. I do think it could be awesome. Could be it's funny you say that, Luis, because we have talked about that, about doing a podcast where we just talk about these things as blended families, and whether it's we interview each other, or obviously what would be way more fun is we interview our families or experts, where we can get some of everything we have in here. Yes, keep the private stuff about our families, like keep that confidential and cozy, but also maybe do something that's a little bit more open and able to help and effectively help more people with the podcast. So I like, you get full credit when we launch it. I love it. And Justin and Angela, have you guys had any time to think about or process maybe what might have been a surprise, at least, from joining the program?
I guess for me, the first thing is really how insightful some of Caitlin's feedback to me has been, since she was a daughter of divorce, I guess. So a lot of her feedback has been stuff that's like, okay, that helps me understand the perspective of the girls and what they're going through. So,
Caitlin, is there anything you wanted to say, or you can unmute? I just want to say you can unmute.
Well, on one hand, I guess something I didn't expect about this program is that it would bring things up from my past. I was looking at this from the beginning as more of like a forward thing, and then with so much of the reflection that also caused me to have a lot of personal reflection. So, sometimes I wasn't sure if what I was sharing was applicable, but that's very nice to hear that some things I've said have resonated. And I mean, you know how to get a hold of us. So if you guys ever need to talk more, I can do my best to at least give some input. But yeah, it's, like I've said,
from each other.
had an easy time in their life for a lot of reasons, but I hope that something that might have been able to bring some reflection. I mean, that's really nice. I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Really, Justin and Angela, like anytime if you guys need to process, there's at least one human that's sort of been on the other side. You know how to get a hold of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Caitlin.
But you
And
can't
thank
see me. You can hear me, right?
Yes,
Yeah. We hear
ma'am.
you,
Loud
ma'am.
and clear.
First, I want to apologize that I was not present earlier. I dropped an egg in the fridge when I was putting away groceries, and
Aw.
then started a beast of having to clean out my fridge. So
Whatever it
Should
takes,
happen.
yeah.
I had to. I put away groceries, and I was like, no, I have to do it now. So
Yeah.
God,
No worries,
God
man, no
has a
problem.
funny sense of humor. You drop an egg and then you end up cleaning your whole fridge. So it could be a win-win. And no sweat here.
sorry. That was
No, no.
first off.
No
And
need
then-
to.
Second, as to a pleasant surprise, was I was just super surprised. I guess not surprised, because I found so much support through you, Shai.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't have been surprised by the support from the other women and the families, but I feel that I have been very pleasantly surprised with the connection that we've all kind of created, especially among us women, to support each other and relate to each other. So yeah, just the community that's been built, the friendships that I feel that have been built, and that's my first surprise. And then I guess my other surprise is the amount of thought that was put into the homework. And I was just very pleasantly surprised with all the creativity and the effort that you put into the program to make it where we get so much out of it. So thank you for that.
That is incredible feedback. Thank you. Especially
Thank you.
coming from a teacher, I take that an even higher compliment for sure. So thank you. Because when we were putting it together, it is hard, especially in a beta course, I think, to know what's going to land, to know, is this too much? And we knew throughout the program, you guys were really like what do we call it, a crash course, because it really was really fast, really furious, and you're getting all this at once. So we knew you guys were like taking on so much. So we've just been so proud of you. And I have to say, our pleasant surprise, I think too, what I'd have to say, the connection that is here. I mean, the 8 of us meeting up and across the world and just through a screen. And yet I feel like we could all just hang out and have a barbecue, and just hang out. And I really hope that happens someday. But it's just, I think that has been one of our most pleasant surprises too, I think. And it's a testimony to you guys, Luis, like you said, people, and Caitlin too, just everyone opening up, being real, being honest,
Everyone.
and every single person, it's amazing. And Meryl and Yev, you too. I mean, it's been awesome. I think with you two, you guys have probably been able to make the least amount of lives, but when you're here, you still open up. Like, you guys are still there. It's like you weren't gone. It was like really refreshing, I think, to see. Exactly, Evelyn. That was her pleasant surprise. Are we ready for question 2? Okay. Thank you. And
All right.
Question 2. Now, this is, I find, potentially a hard one, because we are trying to help you guys focus on one thing. So if you guys could say what has been the biggest win for you personally, and we do want to emphasize personally, because we are going to have a follow-up question if you get where I'm going, but as for a family, right? So question 2, we want to think of you guys first as individuals. So what would you say has been your biggest overall win personally from this program? I feel like I should sing or something, give them some background music. The American in me wants to do 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 do. Oh, Jeopardy, baby.
Oh,
It's
wow.
a game show.
Hey, TV, yeah.
Justin, does that mean you want to answer?
Yep.
Tell us.
I don't know, I guess the win, call it a win, you gotta think about that. That is a tough question. I guess my thoughts go to, when we had the idea after the first class of talking to the girls and getting them to do the assessment, I was kind of anxious about it. And so I guess the win for me is to learn to have a little more faith in something, that is like this. We gone through a lot of stuff, like I think we were talking about with your history earlier, and we go through a lot of things, but just, when we had the activity that we did it with the girls, it was interesting how smoothly that actually went, and we need to dig it on to the next step still, but when we learned more about the girls through that, it just kind of felt like that was a I guess the way to put it is the activity was inspired in that sense, and then carrying it on to the girls, it was like, okay, wow, it's cool. I don't know if that's not really a personal win, but I guess it helps me to think about, try to have more faith and
Yeah.
in the process. So that might be.
Yeah. That's awesome.
You are talking about the love languages test, right?
Yeah, we did the one for teens
Yeah.
with girls. So
Yeah.
Okay.
I do think that is a win, you know, and it can definitely be for you personally, because even though it might have been a win maybe for your family, because it was something that maybe you didn't think your girls would do, like you said so poignantly, Justin, maybe it was that you needed to take that step of faith, so you realize that you can keep taking more, even if they're little steps of faith. It's like continuing to know that, you know, your girls may just surprise you.
yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Thank you.
Beautiful. I love it's so funny because at these moments with these questions, it's like these are moments that we remember talking with you guys about, but it's nice to know the deeper impact, you know. I remember you mentioning that about your girls and doing that, and you know, I love that your girls are in such a trying time, because the teenage years, I think, are really hard and they're really struggling. So I think just being present,
Get on your phone.
continuing to just be there for them, and using this win, having that faith, moving forward in faith, walking by faith and not by sight, maybe. You've definitely proved yourself there every step of the way. And there he goes.
We're
And
gonna switch to the computer.
okay, no worries.
No worries.
No worries. Angela, is there anything you can think of that you'd say for yourself would be considered your biggest win?
I think probably the biggest win is probably learning to recognize my own feelings and thoughts in the process.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're frozen. Yeah.
Good job.
Caitlin,
Yeah, we
are you
can.
frozen? Yeah.
I think that you're frozen on our screen, but we can hear you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they are frozen. But I'm glad we can hear you. That's good.
Now, can you hear us, Angela? No, she's frozen.
Oh,
We
I
can.
think we can hear you guys. So maybe while we wait for them to come back, have you guys thought of an answer to this question? Yeah, they'll come back in.
I guess for me is that I learned like how to ride this roller coaster. Yeah, learning how to ride this roller coaster and to see these things from a different perspective, like from a positive perspective. That even though some things are hard, but they're not impossible. And like Justin said, that gives more faith, and that gives me also more hope that the future can be also a bright future and a very good, beautiful one.
Yeah. Man, so well said. I'm so happy that you got that, Luis. That's such a gift to yourself and to your whole family that you've been able to develop that mindset, because that mindset will direct so much of your path.
Yeah.
And you and Caitlin going down that path together, it's like it's so good. The future is bright, like you said so well. And because you guys both are doing it together, and it's so awesome to hear and to see.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And there we go. Happy to have you guys back, by the way, Fentons.
Yeah. All right.
No worries.
We were talking about you big time, but all good things.
Caitlin.
Yes, Miss Caitlin.
What is your biggest win?
I think the reason that question is hard is because there are so many there are so many that it's hard to like summarize into like what's the main one. But I think like think I'm a very like optimistic, proactive person, but there were definitely times where I felt like there were certain situations where I felt stuck, where I was like, okay, well, this just kind of stinks, like, or okay, that is how it is. And yeah, I mean, I think it's been also like my what's the word I'm looking for? Like my example or my context of a blended family was really only the one that I came from. And then it was like a year and a half ago. I'm like, there's gotta be like resources or community or something. Oh,
Sorry, guys.
You're good.
did you hear what I don't know what you heard.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
This is going to be our news sign for if we can see you and hear you. The last thing we heard, Caitlin, was you were saying that your context for a blended family was just the one you grew up in.
Yeah, and so I mean, while there were some great examples to that, now that I'm older, there was a lot of like heartache and flaws probably during the time, and of course nobody's perfect, but yeah, so sometimes I felt like, is this normal? Is that normal? Like, what's my role? And Luis also was like, well, I've also never done this. Like, we're both kind of walking in the dark, but there was always kind of things I thought like, well, that would be good or this would be good. So I think like just so much of like the content of the topics, like also starting from marriage and then moving into parenting, was really affirming to me of the things that I wanted or the things that I thought could be possible. Like, so even the affirmation that like, yes, our marriage should be our focal point, because if that's not stable, then the family is not, like if that's not going to be strong, then the children and everything will also so to say. That might sound dramatic, but like and I think then moving into parenting and the step parenting, because we have a similar situation to, well, I guess you guys before Mason and Marilyn, you have as well, in the sense that like I nor Meryl nor did you, Kim, have other children. So it was very much like, okay, the kids that we have are from the other partner or future. So much of I had so many fears of like, okay, well, I don't want double standards. I don't want this versus that. And I want to have like, so I think it was so encouraging to really realize like, oh, we can take this into our own hands and really decide like, how do we want our household structure to be? How do we want our home culture to be? And I think because like, shortly after being married, there was like a lot of like his ex trying to influence, trying to have some sort of persuasion into her, trying to manipulate how we should live in our home, and just being like, first off, that was never in the question anyway, but secondly, like just to have even just to be stronger in those affirmations that like, no, our home is our decision, and we will create the best one for Matthias possible, and it doesn't have to be the mirror image of what she does. And we never wanted that anyway. I guess what I'm trying to say is like a lot of what I was hoping or curious and just like kind of what Louise said, that it is about a mindset, but it's also like really just the encouragement that like you can be intentional and take ownership of that. What you want. It doesn't have to look like any other blended family. It's what's best for you.
Yeah.
And I think with that also kind of some structuring and encouragement for me to learn how to lean into more of the parental role along with Luis, but without being the mom, because in our situation, like he has a mom, and like I don't need to be the mom. I don't want to be his mom, but like how to still be like a strong part to as well. So there's been like a lot of reflection for me in that way of like also like what you put in the step parenting lesson about, like how you perceive your relationship to the child is going to affect how you act and how you behave and how you so also the about, okay, my mindset in some ways also needed to change.
Mm.
You know, that was a very long answer.
I love it.
We love it. Been riding up a
Absolutely.
storm here. No, thank you so much. Because I know it's amazing. Because there, you know, Caitlin, there could be somebody who takes this course and maybe they do have kind of one overall overarching win, but then there's someone like in your situation that has so many, and it was such a blessing and had all these light bulb moments kind of thing, and that's beautiful. And so thank you for sharing this, because it is going to be so helpful. It really helps us know, like, what are things we need to focus on, like what's something that's really important. And when you were talking, I was thinking again, Luis will love this, because it's all about you, brother. No, but what I was going to say is, Caitlin, you were saying how you loved how the structure, how we started with the marriage, and you loved that. That was kind of a win for you because you felt that in your heart, and maybe you didn't know, like, is this correct, or how to maybe even voice it between you guys. But then seeing that the marriage came first, then the parenting and step parenting. And what I was going to say, why Luis will love that, is because that did come directly from research. Like, research will show you and said over and over that the marriage has to be strong. That is the reason why, right? We're all in this group right now. That's the reason why we're all in these families, is because there's a partnership or a marriage between two individuals, and that is what is that cornerstone, I could say, and foundation for everything else. So we're happy to see that resonated with you guys too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, question number 3. We know some of you guys, what's great is some of these answers touched a little bit on the family, but we love that most of all those answers were really from your personal spirit, your personal experience. So now we'd love for you guys to share a little more about what do you feel was the biggest win for your family overall.
Wait, I think Angela wanted to say something, right?
Did she?
Angela, I'm sorry. Is there something you wanted to share?
I was trying to. Thanks for remembering with us.
Oh, sorry there.
Sorry. Thank you, Louise and Caitlin.
It's okay. So I was just sharing that I think some of my smaller wins were learning to recognize my own feelings.
Yes.
Yeah. And all of the blending and how it all goes down, and kind of accepting that I'm not responsible for his ex's feelings and trying to make her happy.
Amen.
So for me, that was huge.
Yeah.
Still kind of a battle, because I want to.
Yeah.
But so it's something I have to go day by day, and just trying to focus on what happens here in our home. So trying to change that mindset and shift is, for me, is going to be a daily win. So
yeah,
that's good.
We think something we've seen in each of you guys, like as being the coaches, something we've noticed each of you since the beginning of the program have developed an awareness in something. Like there's been some epiphany or something that you guys have all kind of shared you didn't necessarily realize about yourself, and whether it was something you thought or felt. And so Angela, I would just say that really is a big win, just that you saw.
Does it feel like one too?
That you felt like that. I mean, well, I think she just shared that she felt. I mean, do you feel like that, Angela, that it's a win, just kind of realizing that you're not responsible for making Tamara happy?
Yeah, I think it is a win.
That's good. That's good. I mean, it's like that cliche, the first step to recovery is admitting you have a problem. Yeah, I think what that basically just means is acknowledging and understanding that something's off, or, so I think even just with you realizing that it's not your responsibility, it doesn't mean that right away you're all of a sudden gonna stop feeling the way you do. I mean, you're such a strong, big-hearted lover. I feel like I think if you could, you would make everyone happy around you. And so that part of you is not going to stop. But I think I definitely would say too, it feels such like a big win just knowing, getting to know you all these weeks, just hearing you say that you don't feel responsible anymore is beautiful to hear that.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
If I may, to me, it reminds me of pulling up your boundaries, having healthy boundaries, and what is most important, and protecting yourself first and foremost, right?
Most definitely.
Exactly.
I just want to say, everyone watch out. Caitlin's guns are officially out. She has unleashed them. Compliments of 80 Day Obsession. No, it's great to, I'm sure, finally feel warm a little bit over there. So anyways, so question number 3, guys. What has been your biggest win for your family? So that definitely, guys, can be couples, like you guys as a couple, or you guys with the kids. Feel free to take it any way you'd like. Do, 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 do. Uh-oh, Justin's coming on, maybe not. There he is.
My first line time here. Well, I don't know, I guess for the family, I think it's funny because we've been in the car with the girls at different times, and
Yeah.
and part of that I think shows the girls that we're really trying here. So I think that they're recognizing the effort as kind of a family win.
Mm-hmm.
I have to agree with that.
There has something has changed there in the dynamics.
With the girls?
Yeah.
Yes and no. So the girls still struggle with each other. It's just a rough teenage time.
Absolutely.
They're definitely still kind of struggling with us as parents because how dare we discipline them?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, seeing that we're putting in an effort. I mean, I know the twins have expressed their fears of it's not going to make a difference, or, you know, I appreciate that you putting forth the effort. So I think, at least for the twins, I know that they've expressed to me that, you know, they like knowing that we're putting forth the effort, you know, different things. And so I think that's a win.
Big time.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Angela, what would you say is a win for your family?
Were you asking me?
I think he was wondering if there's anything else you wanted to add, because she kind of was.
That was like Justin's answer, right?
Kind of backing me up on that one. Yeah.
No, I think I'm just gonna back him up on that one right now.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's big in and of itself, I think, is instilling hope by, I think, persevering. You guys are just showing up every week together as a couple, you know, and kids don't necessarily say a lot, especially as teenagers, but they do see a lot, and they see you guys putting forth this effort. So good job.
Building that foundation, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Good. All right, Caitlin Louise, you have the floor.
Austria. I think a win for my family, for our family, is like helping Matthias to feel more comfortable in this dynamic. Yeah, or help him also navigate this type of dynamic. And for me, a really huge win is just seeing Caitlin and Matthias like spending time together, like just hanging out in the patio, playing cards, or like yesterday, no, the day before yesterday, we had a day at the pool, and I could just like relax on the grass while Matthias was in the pool with Caitlin, for example, like, and just having that connection or helping build that connection between them.
Be the bridge.
That I don't need to do everything myself. Like I don't have to do this by myself anymore. Sometimes I have to admit it's hard to let it go because I don't want to miss a single minute with my son. But I think it's also very encouraging to see like, yeah, the connection between both of them is also growing.
That's good. Thank you. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and I think I was also reflecting on that because even last summer, if it was like, oh, do you want to go in the swimming pool? He'd be like, no, where's daddy? He like didn't want to go very far. And that doesn't mean he doesn't need you. It means that he's like getting more secure, and feeling a little bit comforted and knowing
Comfortable with you too, yeah.
And it's been that much longer that I've been in his life. And I think, yeah, I mean, in regards to this time frame since we started the course, I think that I've really tried to not only reflect on how do I feel and why do I feel a certain way at certain times, but also thinking about, okay, how might we be feeling right now, what he might need right now. Like, even if it doesn't come natural to me, like, I don't know. I can't think of a specific question, but it's like, I think even having the course about the parenting or the step parenting, that section, and realizing that, for example, like I thought that maybe Luis wants to do all the cooking, do all this, do all that when Matthias is here, because that's like the only time that he gets to do that. But then also looking at it from the perspective of like, well, actually he had a choice before. And so kind of like opening up even more detailed conversations with say like, how can I help be more involved? And I think on the other side of that, and not that I wasn't more involved before, but I think being intentional about it, because sometimes the weekends would come so quick and it was sort of like, oh, what's happening this weekend? What are you doing? And so while he's not so much of a planner, but he said that he secretly likes that I'm a planner. So to be able to find a balance of like, okay, let's at least have some sort of structure and there's still room to fill in the gaps as we go. But I think that's really helped me feel that I'm a part of the weekends, that I'm a part of the family, and like I'm a part of the household, that I'm not just kind of like sidelines, like sometimes a part of it, sometimes watching. It makes me feel a little bit more that I'm actually like contributing and like also like on Luis's team, that it's like us together, not just me there, sort of. And so even the littlest things like, hey, what do we think for meals? What do we think for Saturday? Like, even if it's like, okay, one thing that we aim to do together, and even silly as like, okay, do we want to do that in the morning or in the evening? Like, just know that we're on the same page. And I think it also helps because something as small as like Matthias wanting something else, and then it's like, instead of being in this awkward thing of like, we don't know what the other person thinks, it's like we've already decided, oh, this is our plan, So I think in a way, I guess, to sum all of that up, the win
I love
was feeling a little bit more collaborative and cohesive, and like thinking through our goals, like short term and long term, and me trying to think and also, hey, I think I might need this at this time, or hey, I want to help in this way, and also not being afraid to like dig deeper to like, okay, well, why do you feel that way, or so. And I think because of having that structure, it's also kind of helped. Like, of course, like no parent can 24/7 nonstop. So even if it is a weekend and Luis needs, 20 minutes to go lay in the grass by himself at the pool, then that's good. Like he can, so
Amen.
yeah.
Thank you. Love your answers, Caitlin.
Don't worry, he's used to like verbal processing all the time. So
You're getting your hand workout with the notes, right?
oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to teach myself to be ambidextrous soon.
Yes, please.
No, I love it, girl. Really, the more the merrier, please. Yeah. Exactly. Oh, so good. It's so good. Awesome.
Anyone wants to add anything to this question before we go to the next one?
Looks like we're good.
Kentucky, we're good. All right, here we go. Question number 4. Question number 4, my love, is...
And some of these may feel a little redundant, of course, or maybe like you've already answered some. I'm the queen of that, answering all questions in one. But basically, what is your favorite part of being in this program? If you guys could say, like, what was one thing that you like, why you love it? I mean, besides hanging out with us like 1 to 2 times a week, but.
I mean, yeah, I was actually gonna say that.
Oh.
like just thought sharing between all of them. I mean, that's my favorite part. Like, I have to say, last Wednesday it felt weird not to have a.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do tonight?
He asked me, when if they have another class coming soon, like another course starting.
Stay tuned.
Yeah. So yeah, I think my favorite part was just like sharing thoughts.
Okay.
Sharing thoughts. Hey, I'm here for you, supporting each other. Yeah.
The way.
Contributing to that feeling that you're not alone.
Oh wait, there. Luis got it. Okay, so sorry. So Caitlin, you said something about what we heard was not being alone.
Yeah, I mean, I think what he is saying also, it's like adding on to how I would feel also in that it's very affirming and validating in the sense that you're not alone. And even though all of our dynamics have different, like a lot of different factors, like especially in our like stepmoms group, it's like in our chat, it's like so many of us feel the same things, even if it comes from very different details, and so I think just it feels so just like comforting because we have like I've said before, we have friends and family that are very supportive, but they're not like they don't fully get it, or like I've had a lot of people say, oh, like just wait till you have kids someday, and it's like, yeah, that's true, I don't have a child right now, but on the other hand, like so much of my world is now revolving around one.
Yeah.
So I think just to have a community where you feel so just like seen and understood, like you don't always feel like the oddball out, but it's like it's like I feel like kind of normal now. Like I don't know, that sounds weird, but like
that's a quote. I feel normal now.
Wow.
That's right. We're gonna use that in our marketing.
That's awesome.
No, I don't know if I'm explaining myself well, but I think it's
okay.
so powerful when you find a niche that speaks to you, that you can express how you feel, and you're not going to have someone look at you and be like, oh really, oh that's odd or something. It's like everything we've ever expressed in this group, people are like, yeah, we've been there, we know how that is, or we know that to some degree. And so I think it's been great to feel yeah, all of those things.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry.
You are.
I am gonna cry.
I have tissues.
No, thank you.
I have prepared.
Wow, those were not far away. He was prepared.
Thank you so much.
But no, it's like literally, I get it. I think we all get it. You feel normal in the abnormal, right? It's like your own kind of, what is that? There's like a phrase. It's like finding your own kind of weird, right? It's like we feel weird, we feel abnormal in so many of our other family and friend circles, but here, yeah, it's you get to feel normal. You get to feel like a breath of fresh air. So thank you.
It's very beautiful.
Thank you.
Good for you.
Yeah. And Justin, what has been your favorite part of being in this program?
Talking about emotions and stuff.
Yeah.
Feelings and
Somebody's getting a lot of feeling there. I don't know, I like seeing them snuggle up with you there. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, today I haven't been able to be on any of the classes on Wednesday with the work schedule stuff, but
Yeah.
I think from the ability to catch up, I still feel like I was part of the class. So that was a good thing. Feel better now.
She got it out.
That's good. And then I guess the way to say it is the way the class was set up to have the follow up and the open discussion. When I was able to like in the morning watch the video and be part of the class and then catch up. So the structure I think made it beneficial to still be a part of rather than kind of here watching Angela in the class, so to speak. Which I think is how it would have been if I didn't get to see the lesson and then catch up in the discussion on Saturday.
okay.
Not a happy girl right now.
Aw.
I was having another thought too, but I may have lost it. Favorite part of the class. It's interesting because we're all on this journey of our own, and now like I think it's been said in one way or another, but now that we like, hey, there's people on the similar journey that we've been on, and being able to kind of put in perspective that we're not alone on this journey, is something that takes it right to your heart in a sense. It's like, okay, because I feel like with my culture, my background and stuff, I guess in one sense, to put it one way, is never saw it coming. Here it happens. But then, here we are, and there is those that can empathize is the right word, or at least understand what you're going through, what you've been through, and then that's pretty neat thing. And then along the way to make friends and hopefully get to have a barbecue someday. That's
yes. Amen. Absolutely.
Your turn.
Hello, beautiful. We knew you were there somewhere. Hi, Evelyn.
Please feel free to just speak, Angela. You don't have to come up and stuff. Of course you can, but you don't have to.
So I think my favorite part of the class was watching my husband open up and share and find support with other men who can relate and can kind of like help them walk through it in ways that I can't. So I think that's been my favorite part.
Awesome. Thank you. Wow. It doesn't have to end. Not at all.
No.
And we're just getting started.
This is just the warm up, guys.
Awesome. Thank you.
Excellent.
Anyone, anything else before we
Move on. They don't know what's
proceed?
coming, so who knows what other questions we got. Actually, Angela's answer just reminded me of
think
one of our questions.
Caitlin always wants to share something else.
Oh, you
She
may.
could. Maybe
You
she-
can.
Well, one of the favorite parts of this program is Evelyn because she'd always scream.
Oh yeah.
It's like we got a bonus. Like I didn't know there was going to be a baby in the program. So
Right? She's become a bit of a mascot.
look at her.
I know.
Totally.
It's that's so sweet you said that, because it is true. It's like you know, imagine right now we've been doing this for about 5-6 weeks and we've already gotten to see her grow. Like imagine a few more months, like, oh my gosh, we're gonna get to see this little thing like crawl and take her steps,
And walk
and
and
then when you
talk
guys
and-
add your babies, and if he has his way, I'll be popping
More
out here
babies, more
soon.
babies,
So you
baby.
know.
Yep, 6 daughters. I'm not sure about that one, but
Oh,
maybe 5.
he's gonna try to beat you.
Go for at least 6 boys then, and then we'll just match them up.
Hey, there we go. Awesome. Your ladies will have a lot younger men. So
Yeah.
Just kidding.
All right.
I already can see a Mason and Evelyn connection. Just gonna say.
It better be.
Awesome.
All right. Question number
Number
5
Yep.
for today is
Hmm.
the Facebook group. What do you like? What is one thing that you would say that you like about that?
The last week especially, I feel like I've just not been great at Facebook at all, but I really liked everyone was very attentive to like responding to your posts, and that it was also a space that you could share links. Like I have still all the tabs open on my computer of like our podcasts and like the different pages that you sent in the group. And it's great because it's all kind of saved in one space. So I like kind of a also courses, and of course the recordings being on there. And it's also, you know, nice because it's something that you can do when you have time. So it's like
Yeah.
you have time and being able to connect with people when it's not possible, of course, to be live all the time.
That's true.
Thank you.
I mean, I was gonna say something similar, but like the few times that I couldn't make it for a Q&A, I could get to rewatch it
Mm-hmm.
and just to catch up. So
Yeah.
it's a helpful tool.
Yeah. Good to know.
Thank you.
I think it's also nice because, well, I'm assuming you're not going to close the page, so it's like you could using it over time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's the one thing that will organically change and grow is that when we add more people to the program, that is going to be the space where everyone connects. And so even people who like eventually buy our course and they go through it alone, they won't get what you guys have right now. They won't have at least the group coaching through the courses. They'll have access to the lives too, but that's where everyone will start to connect and meet. And so when I look at this question, I look at how it's great that Caitlin, Luis, you shared feedback. I want to definitely get over to Justin and Angela, but just so you guys know, that is going to be a space when we have new people. That's where they're also going to meet you guys and they're going to interact. So I think the more people we get, the more fun the Facebook group is going to be, because then you'll have people from different parts of the world and cultures and more people answering on the posts. So it definitely has the potential to only, I think, just grow and get better there.
And over time, I myself might be on there as well.
Whoa,
So
so
imagine that.
woo!
Woo.
Random lives with Kim. Dads matter.
Who knows? Who knows? Thank you.
Yes. And Angela, I'm not sure if
Thank-
Justin's been on the Facebook group, but I know he's in there. And then, but Angela, is there anything that you would like to add about the Facebook group?
was funny because when you asked the question, Justin's like, you can give more feedback on that.
Yeah.
It's okay, man.
So,
I know the feeling.
For the Facebook group, I really enjoy being able to just have the one place to be able to go and, you know, see everything there.
Yeah.
I appreciate the questions that you put on there to, you know, to help us to think and to, you know, work through different things. I feel like this whole past week has been a blur, so I can't really remember anything outside of these four walls right now.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm just like now trying to start catching up on different stuff, even on our WhatsApp.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I enjoy the group and I look forward to seeing how it changes with, you know, guides and, you know, different things on it. So I think it's good.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
And to quickly add before we go to question number 6 is, so a way that, because Facebook's continued to evolve, I'm sure we all know this, anyone who's been on Facebook for some time. And one thing that they started to do with groups is, because we chose our group as a, what do they call it, social learning type of a group. So basically it allows us to put some of the content we post up into like guides. So just so you guys know, we have right now, it's basically, we labeled it as the Thriving Multicultural kind of beta course. So if you click on in the Facebook group underneath guides, it's the only one right now. It actually has all of the content. So it has all the lives, all the Q&As, and all of the PowerPoints. So it's kind of the beta course all in one place. And you guys could go way back to the beginning and click on the marriage stuff and go through it. And Facebook actually takes a tally of like when you finish something, and then it moves you on to the next thing. So it's kind of cool. It's like a very basic of what our course, like the website, it'll eventually be on. That'll be a lot more user friendly. But this is a way that while you guys are waiting on that, if you ever wanted to go back, instead of trying to find our emails and what tabs did I have open, you can actually go right to that guide in the Facebook group, and it will literally guide you through the course again, if that's something you guys want to do.
So awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, just a funny side note is that I had the Facebook group like on my phone on the homepage where I could just like quickly jump onto the group.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And one of the twins had my phone earlier while we were at the store. Playing games and whatnot, and I'm like trying to get on the phone, dealing with the baby and groceries, and I'm like, why do you guys keep deleting stuff on my phone every time you touch it? And they're like, we didn't touch anything. And I'm like, all my links to my group are gone again. Like, I didn't do it. So I'm like, why do my stuff keep disappearing?
Yeah. Well, good. I hope this takes a little bit of stress off of you then, knowing that when in doubt, if they magically disappear, at least in the Facebook group, it'll be organized.
Yes, it's there. So I might not be organized today.
Right, but it's there.
It's there.
Give it some time. Next question.
Question number 6,
Man,
guys. Oh, well, if you guys, if there's anything, I know, I don't know how much you guys know about Facebook or use Facebook, but maybe the ladies, maybe you guys have been involved in other groups. I know maybe more social media savvy, but even the guys, like, is there anything that you guys think could make a group like on Facebook, like a private community where we talk, discuss, you know, in that group? Is there anything you feel it's missing or we could do to make it better?
Right. Next question, ma'am. If you do know the answer, you can.
Or in all of these, like, if
think of something,
think of it, pop in tonight, or you guys can actually go in the Facebook group. You can say like, hey, I thought of this, or of course ladies, you can always jump in our text. And I mean, Luis and Justin, the rad dads can, chat it up too.
I think
so.
Nowadays people would say, yeah, DM me. You can always DM us.
DM KIM.
Whatever that.
Okay. So what do you feel like you've learned in this program that you never would have known if you didn't join? I wouldn't have known about Venezuelan soda.
Totally. Or that root beer is not a beer.
Aww. You're just sucking up to Luis, aren't you?
Why'd you call it a beer if it's not a beer?
Okay, rad dads.
It's a lie. It's just rude. Sorry, Caitlin.
Oh, I was just unmuting in case.
Sorry, Lewis.
So Luis. No, I'm just kidding.
Louise.
Could be something you've learned about yourself, maybe. I know we've already touched on that a little bit. Or maybe something that was really stood out to you, or was almost like maybe an epiphany in the content.
Justin. Get it off of your chest, man.
What?
He said, get it off your chest, man.
Well, you just asked about things that we learned that we wouldn't have learned if we hadn't been in the class. So,
correct.
Going back to the first class, I guess I'd heard of the love languages and stuff before, but then when we started talking about the apology language and the anger, it's more like anger profile kind of thing. But those are both two new things that I probably wouldn't have researched or found without going through it in the course. And then what else?
Good memory too. That was like a month ago.
That's a really impact.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Oh, I learned some new words, although I don't think I could restate them at this point.
Nuptialization and stuff.
Okay, wait. Are they real words or are they
they're Kim's words?
Okay.
Words.
Yeah, nuptialization and parentals. Yeah, patent those.
Yeah.
Parentals.
Yeah.
Parentments.
Or how about the amygdala? Or what was it? Amygdala? Meryl would definitely know that one, but I don't know. Something in your brain.
What? You remember?
Sure.
Good job. Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Angela, we can see you there. Is there anything stimulated in your mind? We see the rocking back and forth.
I'd have to say that's when you asked the question, I kind of said that to Justin, and we're both like, yeah, I think that's something we wouldn't have thought of. So definitely those quizzes just kind of stimulate thoughts. Because I had thought about the love languages before, but I didn't. Before the course, I kind of brought it up, kind of like to the girls of, oh, maybe we should talk about this more. But I wouldn't have gone in depth of taking the quiz with them. I wouldn't have talked about the apology language. I didn't know there was a teen version. So
yeah.
Going into depth, that was something I probably wouldn't have done. So
it's good.
Thank you. Awesome. Family Mineiro.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's it. We were both like, oh my gosh, yeah, because we've known of the love languages, but we had never read, or we were reading the book, but we had never heard about the apology and the anger ones.
Yeah, those were big ones.
And we actually did learn that we apologize very differently and kind of expect different things.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting because I never would have thought oh, do I need to apologize differently?
Right.
Can I?
Totally. Yeah.
That is restitution.
You need to
I know it.
So I really gotta, prove my point. But I think
Awesome.
Okay.
that was a big thing, and that's it.
I mean, to me, the whole topic of step parenting is new. Like
Mm.
to
Okay.
learn from you, because you're in that role of step parenting, to get to know you, understand you, and yeah.
Yeah.
I was also surprised when I heard him say on the call that he understood me now in different ways because of that.
Mm-hmm.
That was interesting to hear, and like for you to hear it from a research or like general standpoint,
Wow, it's beautiful.
which is
It just,
very
yeah. She's such a complex woman.
All women?
Yeah.
Not all women.
No, but I love that. I think that, yeah, maybe, something you just reminded me of is maybe we can add to a future course is I feel we could spend a little more time on helping the step parents maybe understand the bio parents a little better, because I think Luis, I'm sorry, this is about you guys, but you guys stimulate so much that I remember you guys saying in these different Q&As. I just remember, and Caitlin, and you and I have talked, and I know Angela, we've talked about that too. Angela, being a bio parent, maybe had a little bit more of an understanding, but I know Meryl too. It's hard when you're not a bio parent, and to try to understand that it's also so hard for you, Justin, you, Luis, you, Kim. It's so hard that this is new for you too. There's no handbook on step parenting, but there's also no handbook on like how to share your child with someone that's not their parent, and yet they are now a parenting role, and that's difficult and that's hard, and so I just think that I'm just having this epiphany right now that I think we could spend more time on that, because it is so important. What we love about the parenting section, I think what we love seeing in you guys is very much what you guys just said, Mineros, is that it's effectively helped your marriage and your relationship, because now you guys understand each other as parents, in different ways, and now you understand each other better, which is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Let's go to Kentucky, please. We'll bring the fireball.
Justin, is there anything you wanted to add, or Angela?
No. I was thinking about the Chihuahua effect.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Good.
Gonna have to publish that one again. What else? We haven't really said much yet in the discussion about the last class, which is the doubly blended part of it, I guess. Which
Right.
we've not spent as much time as we probably should have talking about the girls when it comes to how to have what do we say, Spanish Thursdays or something like that. But I think it was a really good conversation we had on the cultural aspects that each of us are facing in that sense. And I don't know, it's one of the questions that I feel like I probably should incorporate into part of our daddy-daughter dates and talk to Twin some more about, that cultural aspect. But
Well, on that topic, it's interesting
Please do.
that it's kind of been brought up a little bit among the girls. So we were at a church picnic, and another kid, ages of his oldest, called me her mom, like, "Oh, your mom," and she's like, "That's not my mom. That's my stepmom." And the kid's like, "Oh, well, I haven't seen your mom, and I kind of forgot." And so it's like, "It's your mom." And she was like, "Well, no." And then, that kind of got her kind of contemplating and thinking, and so that was really interesting. But then the same day, a neighbor kid was over, and then it kind of was brought up of like, she pointed out something about like me, like, oh, well, you know, that's not my mom, but you know, she's the twins' bio mom, like, but she doesn't look like them. And the neighbor kid kind of looked confused.
Yeah.
And so it was really interesting of like, she's pointing out these differences that I guess the twins and I have dealt with our whole life.
Mm-hmm.
But that I kind of take for granted that, like, to me, they look like my family, just darker.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so it's just been interesting how these things are kind of getting pointed out, and, you know, trying to learn how to embrace them in a different way. So.
Wow. That's good. And the discussions are being created in your home, you know, and I think maybe because, like you said, Angela, maybe because you and your girls it's been your reality since your girls were born. And yet for Justin, your biological girls, this is all just so very new to them. They've never had to maybe face, especially in their family, different races, different color. Because to be honest, Angela, when you guys are out, it could be that people really could more easily look at all your girls, and they could think Justin's girls were maybe more of your biological, just because of the color of your skin and your girls having that darker skin. I know that especially kids are so innocent, and you know, sometimes they just don't understand, and they try to process things, and so that could be a whole new dynamic, like you said, for you guys when you're out and about and have people over.
Yeah.
Did you have a question there?
So those two things, they happen both like on the same day. It must have been funny, maybe is the wrong word. But did they also lead to good conversations? Or what came out of them?
Right now, it's a lot of pondering.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you pondering on it yourself, or is this more like a Caitlin and Cheyenne verbal processing, like with your spouse? Like, are you guys talking about it together, or?
Not yet.
Okay. So right now.
We're going to verbalize it or process it together on the chat.
Oh, okay. Sounds like you will be soon.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about it now or later tonight, or I mean, I know that I'm just curious. Yeah, like Kim, did you have a pointed question that you wanted to help them process, or because you asked if it led to conversations, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to know what came out of it, or what did it lead up to, or but it didn't happen yet. I do remember last week when we looked into the step parenting part, when we were discussing that part. In research, it shows that teenagers sometimes they felt like shame, and they had to explain a lot, and they didn't want to, and therefore they would distance themselves. And I was wondering, Justin, if you have had time to talk to your girls or to ask them that question.
Explaining
About the culture and the differences, and how the twins are different.
Yeah, or like how they feel about it.
I don't know. To me, it's almost like one of those things that we haven't put a lot of attention into. So, I mean, I don't really feel like there's, I don't know what the right way to say it. It's, I mean, it's something that we know, but it doesn't really pose a issue. But we just haven't really talked about it that much. I mean, the biggest issue we've had with the cultural side is a couple of years ago when Angela was speaking Spanish to the twins a couple times, and it was kind of like, what are you saying? Like, sure. My oldest was kind of like, you're talking in Spanish, so we don't understand you, and you shouldn't do that kind of thing. But other than that, I think it's not really been area of concern, but
No, I am pondering and thinking that as the twins are getting older, and I guess on the funny part of that is the same day, the same kid who called me Jessica's mom said something in regards of that one of my twins, Anessa, is prettier than Jessica because of her skin tone, and it's not. And he's like, well, you know, she kind of looks Brazilian, and Brazilians are naturally just very beautiful. And I'm like, he's such a
funny kid.
funny, interesting kid.
How old is this kid?
He's 17, but he's like very off
Yeah.
in a weird, innocent, socially awkward way.
Just like,
But then,
says
like,
things you don't say or
That
something, yeah.
kind of made Nez kind of like her today, like, yeah, I'm Brazilian. Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I love
I'm
that.
Brazilian.
And I'm like, no. But
Obrigada.
yeah, like it's bringing stuff to the surface. I think the older they get, of, you know, seeing the differences of
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
just not just the outward appearance, but, you know, I mean, that's a huge part of it. And I was at the pool yesterday, and Lily was like, oh my gosh, look how dark I am compared to you. I'm like, you've always been dark compared to me.
Right.
Does that to me too, though, because she has a better tan. But
But so
Year-round.
I think it's becoming
Yeah.
more and more on the surface.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that it's going to be leading to some pretty important conversations as they grow and mature, and, you know,
Yeah.
different things.
Yeah.
And just if
Oh.
you know, and it. Sorry.
Caitlin or Louise? I
Sorry.
don't know. I think Caitlin, but I hope also Louise.
But you can finish your thought first, Shai, if you want.
Oh, it's okay. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I think that, you know, like culture, like a rich culture with like language and traditions and like a background is different than obvious. I mean, we all know that's also different than skin tone.
Mhm.
And I think, like you were saying, if the girls are starting to kind of like make comments like this, it also could be a big part of them also just discovering more of themselves, paying attention to things they might not have paid attention to before, or because of these conversations with peers. And maybe I'm coming out of the wrong direction here, but just because I've had some similar conversations growing up, because my dad is half Mexican, and he had me with obviously a white woman that looked, and my aunt, who's my dad's full-blooded sister, Mexican, had children with a very dark-skinned black woman. So my full-blooded cousins look like 100% African American.
Mm.
So we had the same last name and went to different high schools, but there were people that knew both of us, and a lot of times people would be like, wait, he's your cousin? What? Oh, like, where's he adopted from?
Wow.
So as much as I want to be like, you're so stupid, like interracial families exist, like as much as I want to like tell someone they're really dumb, I try to still be like, well, no, he's my full-blooded cousin, like different people like mate with different people, like, so, you know, and I think in one regard, like it is easy to get like defensive or to be like, don't point out the differences. But on the other hand, like I think sometimes, and not to ignore the elephant in the room, to almost just like for what it is and use it as like an educational point, or like, you know, like if you were to, you know, talk with the girls, or if the girls were to start to learn how to like celebrate that diversity. And I know that's really hard sometimes at their age, if they're feeling like singled out or something, or hopefully they're owning it, like, you know, wanting to flaunt their beautiful skin. And I don't know, I guess my perspective from that is sort of like, I don't think it always has to, I mean, it can be a heavy topic, but it can also be looked at as like a beautiful topic, you know, like always, it's hard too, 'cause, you know, there's there's a lot of people that come at those comments from different perspectives. So whether it be
Right.
just a fact, or if it's sort of like, what's the background, or if they're coming at it from a negative standpoint, if they're coming at it from like a racism standpoint, there's a lot, like you said, that can be conversation or education or empowerment. And I guess my only encouragement there is that some people, especially young kids, they're just ignorant. They don't, if they've seen it, they're gonna be like, I'm confused. But it also could be a great way for them to learn, you know.
Yeah.
But I have said also as a kid and being like having to feel like you have to explain yourself in reality. And I guess the reason I bring that up too is because like we didn't have the Mexican culture in our family. So it was just like skin tones that were different. So it wasn't so much that half the family spoke Spanish, the other half didn't. It was more of like, it was just visible differences, sort of what you're explaining. But I think sometimes that we want to sweep those things under the rug because it feels awkward, but then that's not helpful, I guess.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm speaking out of left field here. So.
No, you're not. You're awesome as always.
Definitely have to agree with that. I think something just to add on top of that is that even if in the household, if I actually have also half Black cousins. That I mean, we don't look anything alike, and I think some of my past is I used to work with a lot of intermixed families in the Los Angeles area. It's quite common out there to have a lot of different races mixed together. And I think from my own experience working with these families, I think even if in the home, if the differences aren't as seen, I think a lot of families try to not make a big deal of the differences. The reality we all face is the world we live in makes a big deal of the differences. And so I think the best thing we can do for our children is just to help them prepare for those moments. Especially because Justin, your girls have never probably had to face anything like that before. And it might just be helpful just to like ask them, just to like, hey, like, how does this make you feel? Have you ever felt like you've had to answer some awkward questions, and helping them process, and maybe help them also, like Caitlin said, work on a healthier, maybe a more proper answer to, because the questions I'm sure will come. It just happens when I think you're in a family that looks different, especially something externally that people can see. So maybe it's just about helping them process it so that if, not necessarily if, but when the questions come, they don't have to necessarily get defensive. Like Caitlin said, help them process their own feelings so that in the moments they can either have, they kind of know how they feel, or they can choose to ignore it too, walk themselves down that path.
Sometimes speak it out. And when we ask a question, we don't always know the answer ourselves, but when we hear someone speak it out, we can then see, like, does it resonate or does it not, or doesn't it resonate? It's another way that we can always go about it.
Yeah, I think you guys, I'm sure, know better than any of us with having so many teenagers that there's things that may not seem like a big deal to you, but are very big deals to the children in our house, that it may not even seem like an issue until sometimes the right conversation comes up, or until we as the parents are intentional with the questions. I remember even this week, Billy told Kim that he disrespected her, which was the first time I think you ever maybe heard that. And it was something that really was over his head, because he was like, whoa, I did not think my comment on that. Give a really quick frame of reference. I bought myself some new makeup brushes, And Mason took one of them, and now it's lost in the vortex, the black hole of his toy boxes. And Billy's been getting into makeup recently. So Kim had said something in front of her like, "Oh yeah, Billy probably took it. Yeah, you know, she's got to take care of her face." So she didn't say anything, and he was totally joking. And then about 4 or 5 days later, it came out that she felt disrespected by what he said. And so I just think no matter if it's something as silly as makeup or something that could potentially be as big as race in a household, I think that it's just important to bring about topics of conversation that sometimes may not affect us, but imagine how it could possibly affect and influence our children in the household.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's very good.
Yeah, thank you. And Caitlin and Luis, you know, the whole time you were talking, I was thinking that you guys will probably be navigating this road too, because, you know, Luis with Matias, his mom is also Venezuelan, so I can imagine he could more than likely be a lot darker than the kids that you'll have with Caitlin, because I can imagine mixing with the white European background, your kids could be lighter. I don't know. Your genes could be really strong though too.
I don't know. Maybe it's gonna be like more a cappuccino baby.
Yes, a beautiful cappuccino mocha.
Yeah, cappuccino.
Caitlin has some Mexican genes there. They might
Right?
get
See,
triggered,
girl,
too.
that might just be where they all come on out. They all suck on out.
Yeah, I mean, my dad was very vocal to me about the ways that he was treated because he had dark skin, and I witnessed this sometimes growing up. And he was always even before I was dating Lacey, always said, if you're a man of color, sometime these are my or these might face if you have a multiracial child. So it really put me in a place where he was like, unfortunately, like he was not quiet about the fact that like it sucks, but in the world that we live in, like you as the white woman will have to be attentive and have to be extra like clear and careful and protective in some ways. And so it's interesting because even in the short few years that we've been together, I've seen ways that Luis is treated differently than me, or that Nick is treated differently because he's with me, but maybe in a positive way. I don't know. So,
Right.
In 2021, yeah.
Of course.
but I that's where I think like, you know, it like for Justin and Angela, like it's not fun to have to think about, oh, maybe my children will be treated or talked to or experiencing the world in different ways. But I think making sure they have that open channel of communication with you guys about how they feel is where it's going to be important that they don't feel like they're navigating it alone.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm just gonna say this, that this is a win for our family then, because when I first mentioned Justin about the group being a doubly blended family, he was like, "What do you mean?" And I told him, well, about the culture and the culture of the twins, etc. And he's like, "I don't get it."
Yeah.
Like to him, they were his girls, and like
Yeah.
that didn't matter, which is like a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But as the older they get, they're people who have questions, and that brings up questions for themselves. And I mean, they've always faced it their whole life of kids being innocent kids of like, well, that's not your mom. She doesn't look like you. Did she adopt you? So that's always been there because they're really young. So I want to say, thank you for bringing the points of view on the culture aspect of it, so that it's bringing things to the surface for ourselves to navigate and to discuss and to help our kids. So that's a win. Thank you.
Awesome.
In like a proactive manner.
Yeah.
Versus reactive, like before it becomes an issue.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's something that we also intend to go deeper on, especially with bringing experts in, because we for certain don't understand the race issue. I think for us, one of our biggest cultural differences and struggles is definitely language, and then also just living between two countries. But race is something that affects both of your families that doesn't affect ours. And so we do, though, want to connect other experts to this group. So I've recently just been this week talking with people who are, what do I want to say? They're experts in bilingualism and helping families navigate that life. So we want to offer those resources to you guys as well. But I did just connect with someone too who's talking about all kinds of racial differences in families, and how do you embrace it and celebrate it while also helping the kids like feel a sense of normal, but also a way of helping them, like Kim said it so well, like become more proactive in how they approach their diversity and their differences in the world versus coming at it more reactive. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for weathering this topic with us, because it is new and it's different. If anything, I feel like we can learn a lot from you guys. And so, and it's something, Justin, I know it's something kind of new to contemplate. I love that Angela even said, like, maybe a month and a half ago, you didn't see that the girl's color necessarily, which I think we all can agree is very beautiful. It obviously shows that wasn't an issue or a problem for you. But it is an issue and a problem for them living in this world that we're in, that they will be confronted with it throughout their life.
Pros and cons.
Pros, Brazilian. Embracing that. But that's, that's good. And it's something you guys, again, do not have to figure it all out overnight. Your girls, what's great about, the twins is that they're still only 12. So they're under your roof for quite a few more years, and you'll have time to go through this and have these discussions with them. So awesome. Did we have any more questions?
Maybe Justin does.
What?
Oh.
You're always putting him on the spot. Justin.
Not right now, maybe next week.
Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about or contemplate or think or ponder? Joint ponderings.
I like this ball that he's got.
That's Evelyn's, yeah.
Like your thinking ball, like.
That's why she's been crying, because like
Daddy won't share.
Yeah. I just have one thought in my head, but I don't know.
Do it. Just get it out.
Maybe it's just thinking out loud and see where it goes a little bit. But I know Cheyenne has talked about it a bit and some of her experience sharing with Billy's mom.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually had an experience yesterday that made me like, you got to be kidding me, when it comes to boundaries that had been set. And yet there's this violation here, but I completely want to stay out of any legal type stuff because it's just time and money. But how to better engage in the, I don't know, almost like how to fight with your ex in a better way. I don't know how else to say it. But there are going to be moments, and those are moments that actually can tend to raise stress levels. And Angela and I have done pretty good, but when stress levels are elevated, there's a little bit of, we don't have conflict per se, but we're both like, oh my gosh, it just drives us nuts. So maybe that's just a thought on another piece of the puzzle. I don't know if that could make sense to be part of the class in a way.
Of course.
Thank
because
you.
That's how we're
to fight fair almost.
That's one of the challenges that we face. Obviously, there's a We talked some about co-parenting and how it wasn't working for us, so we're gonna give up on that there. But there is another parent when we talk about parenting that's not in the picture here.
Right.
It's over there.
Yeah.
And they tend to do things that get us pretty frustrated.
First of all, is this conversation, this communication, is it going through you, or is Angela still being pulled in the entire communication flow?
Talking about what happened yesterday?
Yeah, for instance.
So I got a couple of messages about something that she wanted to have the girls come and get at the house. I responded that I'd take a look when I got to the house. And then I got another message that basically said, specifically, like, can we just go by and take a look? Like, let one of the girls go look. And I didn't know, huh?
The boundary is
Well,
without permission.
I didn't know Angela wasn't even home at the moment, but she also got a message, which I found out later. But I happened to get home. I hadn't told them I was home. She wasn't here. I think they knew that.
They knew that.
So they knew they probably assumed I wasn't home, knew she was home, but she stopped by like 5 minutes after I walked into the house with the girls coming into the house to come get something without permission. And that has been a boundary type thing.
And you can't go to the other parent's
Yeah.
house without permission.
So there's got to be permission to show up at the other parent's house, kind of thing. So there's a boundary set. Part of this boundary was set so many years ago, especially by her. So it's a very hypocritical action that she's done. So not cool.
Totally not cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with the girls doing it, but there wasn't the question of can we go over there because I hadn't responded to that yet. So it was
Right.
it's stressing me out, and I'm like, what's the right way to approach it? But the girls are almost in the middle of it because they were told to kind of come in and go look for this thing, and it's like,
Right. And that's not their fault. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Well, first of all, I think it's very normal when you try to put up boundaries, people will test. They will push against it. They will walk over it. They will ignore it. They will see how much you mean business, because it's been working for so many years and it's very comfortable and convenient. And he's not for real anyway, so we can just walk all over him. And then they will find ways, very ingenious ones, that we would never come up with ourselves. And you are being challenged. You are being tested. To come back to your question, how to better fight with your whatever, I think the answer would be to not fight would always, I think,
Disengage maybe more.
it takes two to fight, and I think that nothing good will ever come out of fight. And I think that in the long run, the kids will always be the ones in the middle and hurting.
Yeah.
So I think the right way would be to be assertive, to come up and stand up for your own boundary.
And she'll probably call you maybe narcissistic and cocky. Just ignore it.
They will lay traps all over the place for you to. So I think that what's most important is that you stay true to yourself, that you stay yourself.
Yeah.
And
I guess the thought isn't necessarily about the specific incident, but as far as the class goes, I don't know how to exactly say it, but I do feel like one of the things that's happened in the class, because we've opened up to each other and become vulnerable this way, that I feel like I've been sharing a lot of specific type instances that occurred with my ex. She did this and she did this, and I share it that way because that's how I'm feeling about it in that moment, with the emotion of the whole thing. But I turn around and I'm like, I don't like doing that specifically, to say, here's what you did this time, when I'm trying to learn how to improve myself and with the group and everything. So maybe that's a constructive feedback to the classes. How could people take the class in the future, for example, how could that be a piece of the puzzle to learn better how to set boundaries?
Yeah.
Because I've struggled with that, and when boundaries are set, how do you enforce those boundaries? Kind of situation, or even I don't know what I'm trying to say. Help me out.
No, I think you're making a lot of sense, and
Your verbal processing. Welcome to the club.
I believe we understand what you're trying to say there.
Yeah.
Like having a component of the course to be more centered towards figuring out some form of control over the past, maybe. But
Standing up for yourself and like
was either the parenting or the step parenting course that it felt like the end of the class was more about the discussion of the other home and the other parent. And I remember thinking like, wow, that conversation could have kept going and going. That I also thought to myself, okay, maybe there should have been like a section just for like boundaries between homes that's not coupled into parenting or something.
Okay.
Because there's, I think, like with what Justin is saying, like there's also so much about parenting, but then there's just so much about like this person that just doesn't stop bothering you, that it's like just like this is unnecessary, So how practically, like not professionally, but like respectfully, like practically, like have effective, like I am only adding to this, Justin, because I had a similar thought where I was like, oh, that whole own thing, because everyone, especially in all of our situations, seem to have similar X.
Yeah, it's just the title. How to not give an F about your ex.
Oh,
no, but
There's the section title.
yeah,
That's
totally.
the title.
Which is
And
what I've been really working on.
Yeah.
Caitlin, I like your little Freudian slip there, a sense of professionalism, meaning like not
Like a business.
emotional, not like it's personal, but thinking more like a professional way, like it's a colleague.
Really like a business kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is probably maybe easier for me as the step parent to be more emotionally removed, but it's like I just see so much, like he'll tell me conversations where I'm like, where is Matthias in this conversation? Like
Right.
it's not about him anymore. So it needs to be about the child, and if it's not about the child, then it's pointless.
Yeah, I mean, what I've learned in this past years that I had to learn the hard way, like just to choose my own battles, where I want to spend my energy on. Because if I want, I have a lot of reasons to pick up an argument with my ex, and to discuss and to fight and even to go into legal stuff. But I know there are some things that I do not want to spend my energy on that, because it's not more about Matthias. It's just about who's right and who's
Right. Yeah.
so. Yeah, I mean, if I had to literally take it from my physical perspective, like I want to be someone that pursues peace. So yeah, but also in a matter that, okay, when boundaries are set, like you said, Justin, also to stand up for them. Because Jesus, I know, yeah, he was humble, he was very peaceful, but also he was a strong man. Like, and when something wasn't right, he stood up to it. That's the kind of thinking that I'm trying to pursue. That okay, I choose my own battles. If it's something that affects my marriage, if it affects my son, that's when I'm gonna push forward.
Yeah.
But if it's something that is just okay, she's just being crazy and dumb about she wants to be right, then who cares? Like I can control the way she thinks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but I get you. Like it's very frustrating, and I like what you said about having this topic about how to learn to fight with your ex.
Yeah.
Yeah,
With the idea being no fighting, right?
Yeah, with the idea of being
Right. But it's so true what you guys said, because so often it's like you can't control her, right? So she can come at you, and a lot of times sometimes exes do come with the fighting gloves on. So it is almost like when you guys said it, I was thinking like, how do you fight fair? And something, Justin, I feel like I have to say, and also Luis, you might have commented on this on our Instagram this week, but I read this quote and I thought it was so good, is that it said, you don't have to show up for every argument that you're invited to.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. And in a step family sense, I think when you have a high conflict ex, that resonates so much, because your ex, Tamara, may invite you to a lot of arguments, but you don't got to show up. You don't have to respond. There's certain things you don't actually have to respond. No matter how much she makes you think you owe her, you don't.
If I may, to what degree do you think this could have something to do with respect? With the respecting yourself, respecting your own boundaries? I don't know. Just a question.
About her breaking the boundaries yesterday.
My theory about yesterday is that she was headed somewhere and she wanted to be on time and didn't care that
Right.
Basically, I wasn't responding at the timing that fit her schedule. So when she found out Angela wasn't here, I think she probably made the choice to just
come over.
do it. And the girls can get in, so the girls going into the house wasn't going to be an issue, even though she didn't take the right course of action on what she did there. I think she had to have known that wasn't going to be cool, but how were we ever going to know about it if we weren't there is my theory. So
yeah,
basically I caught her red-handed, and it was just Kayla coming in, so it wasn't a big deal. I was here, and her coming in would have been fine, but there wasn't the, oh, you're home, we stopped by.
Right.
And then it wasn't even that. It was like, hello.
Yeah. Well, and it might not even be something that Justin, like Luis said, pick your battles. It's not that you have to make a big deal out of it, but it may be enough to make a reminder, like, hey, Tamara, it happened. Yesterday happened, and just to make it clear, like, we're not okay with it. Remind her of the boundary. Like, we know you also have asked the same boundary, and we intend to keep it. And this is also a boundary here, and we expect you to keep that here. I think sometimes boundaries just have to be re-communicated, and so that she knows, like, you guys mean business, and that is something that you guys expect.
Yeah.
Repeating like a broken record, that's like parenting, right?
Yeah. So, okay.
Well, and this is something too, like, chew on it, ponder it, talk about it between the two of you guys. Maybe work on this week somehow effectively communicating that, to her. And then next week we can get together and chat about it again. And as you guys kind of continue to work it out during your weeks, this will, I'm sure, continue to evolve, and we'll get to chat about it again and see what progress you guys made.
But you don't have to wait a week, because there's a Facebook group, but there's also the WhatsApp group.
The Rad Dads.
Yeah, we're there. You don't have to like type and stuff. You can speak a voice message.
That's what us ladies do a lot.
Way easier, way faster. And then there's all these dads at your back and call.
Yeah, at your back and call.
Totally.
But yeah, you can always just send. I know it's maybe a weird thing to start, but I think just like here, maybe this was weird the first week. Like, I'm opening up about my personal things, but now same thing. But hey, or like, this is how I'm processing it. Oh,
are we gone?
There we go.
You're better.
We're having a party across the oceans today. Basically, I was just saying that you can process it even out loud on the voice message, and just let the other guys know, like, this is something I'm dealing with, and chances are, as we've seen in this group, between the four of you, I'm sure one of you guys have lived a similar experience and can probably help each other out.
Yeah.
I know it's weird. Totally.
I mean,
I
y'all.
What?
He's just gonna be honest,
Share their feelings.
or just to like have a face or have a WhatsApp group to like chat about things.
What?
I'm still trying to get him like active on social. He's like, I don't get it.
I will one day, though.
Yes, with your teacher.
It is interesting how much I think Angela utilizes the time difference to her advantage.
Please do. I love when she's like up breastfeeding and we're here.
Exactly. Right? I'm not breastfeeding.
I know.
And
I'm like,
I already had a full discussion with Shy. He's like, what?
shoot. Yeah.
He's like, you talked to her before me. I'm like, well, I was awake and you weren't. And she was.
I was there for her.
Thank you.
Many times.
Yeah. Oh, I know how that. I think we all know how that feels too. So, but
I think there's a lot going on in Justin that you don't speak out.
He's like, oh no, they're on to me.
they're on
A
shoot.
A ton.
Yeah. But you're getting better at it.
Say it, man.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, probably so.
I will tomorrow.
It's funny.
Later.
I feel bad for you sometimes when Kim puts you on the spot, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm
You do it to
sorry,
me.
and then I do it to him. Sure, you're getting payback for what I do. But you've handled it so well, and I think every week it's just been awesome just to get to know you more.
Yeah.
You know, everybody, but yeah, it's just cool to see your heart. I mean, your cool
Absolutely.
awesomeness, but no, really, like get to know your heart and yeah, just discover the real guy on the inside. Like it's cool to be like, hey, we've heard those things too, or oh my gosh, we have those discussions as well. So keep it up.
Your ex is not around, man. She will not come at you.
Huh?
Just throw it out. There's nothing
Oh,
wrong.
you mean right
that
now,
you can
like he
say,
can? Okay,
no.
okay. I think he's meaning because I'm
I
like his
know.
ex is gonna come at him.
I've been
But-
there. Lewis always
Yeah.
has also been there. Was like these creepy mind fucking.
Oop.
I don't know.
Beep. Sorry. The
No,
European
really
just came out, but yeah.
Manipulating and mental game playing, and you think it's you, but it's not. It's absolutely not you. Let go of that. You're absolutely fine. You're really good. Speak it out. You feel like you have something that's in. Just let it go. There's a reason.
Yeah.
Okay.
And here it's safe.
Okay.
It's a safe space. Doesn't mean right now, but just in general.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
you
can.
can, but
Yeah.
I mean, just in general here, it's like there's nothing you can't not say. Like there's
Yeah.
no wrong.
And Angela, I think that Angela is also the
Yeah,
understanding.
Angela's gears are turning. I can tell that right now. I don't know what she's thinking, but something's going on
We're
there.
good.
We're good. Okay.
Awesome.
I think that if you guys can do that together with each other, trigger that, allow each other that safe space to open up and let it out, let it go as it comes. There's no judgment. There's nothing wrong that you can say. Two powerhouses here.
Heck yeah. Big time. Big time.
Where you going?
Hey girls, can you walk dogs, please? Walk dogs, please.
They're 3 dogs, right?
Yeah, females too.
All.
It's okay. How's the one doing, by the way? Did she get better?
Oh yeah, the one with the oozing,
Yeah.
pussing scar thing.
We're good.
She's still alive.
Is that a good
Is that a
thing?
It's healing up, yeah.
You did
I don't
well.
like her dogs anymore. I'm just like, I kept her alive so I wouldn't be a bad stepmom, but
You pulled her through.
And now it sounds like she's your dog. Aw.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
She knows who loves her. It's a compliment, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, guys, crazy enough, we have been on together. This might be a record. This is 2.5 hours. That just kind of flew by. Hey. So Luis, that makes up a little bit for Wednesday, right? We got you a little bit more time. This week. Oh, so much love. I know. Yeah. It's like friend, our little hearts across the ocean. Yes, since you guys taught Kim this.
Can't do it.
Let's do them all.
Rock on.
Rock
Party on.
Awesome.
Awesome.
So
guys.
good. Well, guys, we will let you guys go off into your evening, into your afternoon. I'm going to send you guys all an email tomorrow, just a little bit more of a follow-up. It's a way you guys can get, if you want, a little more personal with some responses, or send us some videos with the feedback if you want. You guys can film them together. It's really something that is kind of a continuation of what we asked tonight, but of course, no pressure to get it back to us right away. Just another way of kind of processing this course for you guys and really helping you guys think about some of these things and seeing what was the blessing in all of this. So,
Fenton, you okay?
What?
You good?
I'm good.
awesome.
When in doubt,
Hump it out. You just wanted me to say that. Hi, girls.
or hug it out.
Oh, hug it out. Sorry, one of the H's.
When there's kids around, that's the
Yes.
R-rated,
Yes.
X-rated.
Yes, they're just wrestling. But anyways, yeah, so stay tuned to the Facebook group. We will have more things this week, so that it's not a whole week until we talk to each other. But again, use the shoot out of those Facebook groups and the WhatsApp groups any time of day.
If there's one thing that I learned tonight is that I got proof that you get out what you put in.
Yeah.
Time and time again.
Yeah.
And a big awesome kudos to all y'alls.
All y'all.
And thank you.
Yes.
All y'all.
All y'all. Hey, use the y'all.
All y'all.
You got a thumbs up from Kentucky.
I know, man.
That's a huge compliment.
Good.
Yes.
Now we got to learn how to talk Kentucky. How to speak Kentucky.
Does he get a thumbs up on that one? That was
Where are
pretty.
my boots?
There you go.
Where my gun?
That's right. There you go. That's the real
Yeah.
Kentucky.
Oh.
Awesome.
Well, guys, I think we'll end it on this note tonight. Lots of love to you all so much.
Looking forward to seeing y'all.
Already. I know. Until the
Thank
next
you.
time. We love you guys. Have a beautiful rest of your Saturday, okay?
You.
Bye.
Hasta la vista, babies.
Mhm.